What is the most dangerous bias in trading? It's not confirmation bias or fear of missing out. It's the bias that has existed for decades before you even place a trade. The bias that says this isn't for you. The belief that the financial markets are exclusively a man's world. Today, we dismantle that myth. We go beyond the charts to bring you the untold stories of three pioneers who didn't just break the glass ceiling. They built entire empires on top of it. This is a lesson in psychology, resilience, and the sheer will to succeed against all odds. If you ever felt like an outsider, if you've ever been told you don't belong, this video is your validation. Smash the like button, subscribe to Whispers of Psychology, and let's begin. To truly understand the magnitude of what Linda Raschke, Lien, and Camilla Crown achieved, we must first transport ourselves back to the environments in which they began their careers. We're not just talking about a lack of representation. We're talking about active, often hostile, exclusion. The trading floors of the 1980s, where Linda Raschke cut her teeth, were a cacophony of testosterone-fueled chaos. It was a world where success was measured not just in profits, but in your ability to shout louder, push harder, and withstand a constant onslaught of psychological pressure. For a woman to not only enter this arena, but to thrive, and it required a level of resilience that goes far beyond what we typically associate with trading psychology. It wasn't just about managing the fear of a losing trade. It was about managing the daily, grinding pressure of being an outsider, of having your every move scrutinized, and of having to be twice as good to get half the credit. This environment, rather than breaking them, became the forge in which their mental toughness was tempered. They developed a form of psychological armor that most traders today will never need, an armor that made them immune to the trivial anxieties that plague the average retail trader. When your daily reality involves fighting for basic respect, the normal market fluctuations of a chart become almost trivial by comparison. This foundational experience gave them a unique and permanent edge, an unshakable sense of self-belief that was not dependent on external validation or a winning streak. Their confidence was built not on a string of successful trades, but on the proven knowledge that they could survive and adapt under the most intense pressure imaginable. This historical context is crucial because it redefines what we mean by a barrier. For them, the barrier wasn't just a statistical imbalance. It was a palpable, daily reality. Lien entered the world of institutional Forex at a time when women in senior roles were a rarity. To ascend to the level of managing director at a global firm like GFT, she had to possess an unparalleled command of her craft. This meant her analysis had to be sharper, her forecast more accurate, and her conviction more unshakable than anyone else's in the room. There was no room for error or self-doubt. This pressure cooker environment forced an extraordinary level of discipline and precision that later became the hallmark of her success. She couldn't rely on charm or bravado. She had to rely on cold, hard, impeccable analysis. This ingrained a fundamental truth into her trading psyche. The only thing that matters is the quality of your work. This is a mindset that liberates a trader from emotional noise and anchors them in a process of continuous, rigorous self-improvement. Meanwhile, Camilla Crown's barriers were different, but no less significant. As a retail trader working from home, her battle wasn't against a hostile trading floor, but against a different set of stereotypes and isolation. The online trading community can be notoriously skeptical and, at times, toxic. As a woman promoting her success in teachings, she faced a wave of doubt and criticism that her male counterparts often avoid. Her perseverance required a deep, internalized form of resilience. She had to cultivate a mindset that was completely independent of external opinion, focusing solely on her system and her results. This journey from nurse to educator required profound belief in her own ability to learn, adapt, and succeed on her own terms. The barrier she broke was the myth that you need a Wall Street background or a finance degree to build a life of freedom through trading. She became a role model for the everyday person, proving that success is born from discipline and psychology, not pedigree. Together, these three narratives form a masterclass in turning adversity into an advantage. They took the very obstacles designed to exclude them and used them to build a level of mental fortitude that became the ultimate foundation of their success. They didn't just break barriers. They repurposed the rubble to build their throne. But here's a pivotal question that every aspiring trader must ask themselves. In a market saturated with noise, with thousands of indicators, gurus, and strategies screaming for your attention, how do you find a signal that is truly your own? How do you discover not just a strategy, but an edge that is so uniquely suited to your psychology that executing it feels less like a risk and more like a certainty? The answer lies in the second act of these women's journeys. Because resilience alone isn't enough to generate millions. Resilience is a foundation, but the structure built upon it is a methodology, a unique, personalized, and ruthlessly refined edge. Linda Raschke, Lien, and Camilla Crown didn't achieve legendary status by copying someone else's playbook. They became legends by writing their own. And this process of creation was as much a psychological evolution as it was a technical one. Linda, operating in the chaotic pit of the open outcry system, couldn't rely on slow, deliberate analysis. Her environment demanded instinct, but instinct honed by a deep, almost subconscious understanding of market mechanics and rhythm. She developed what would later become famous as her mechanical trading systems, rules-based approaches that filtered out the chaos and provided clear, objective signals. This wasn't a cold, emotionless system. It was a psychological masterstroke. By creating a rigid framework, she built a cage for her own potential emotions, fear, greed, doubt, to run wild. The system was her guardian. It allowed her to operate with the speed required of her environment while protecting her from the cognitive biases that destroy most discretionary traders. Her edge was her ability to translate the market's chaotic energy into a disciplined, almost musical rhythm, and to have the patience to only dance when the music was right. Lien, on the other hand, operated in the vast, fundamental-driven ocean of global Forex. Her edge required a different kind of psychology of synthesis. While many traders fall into the trap of being purely technical or purely fundamental, Kathy's genius was her ability to marry the two. She understood that fundamental factors, interest rates, GDP reports, geopolitical events, create the major currents in the market. Technical analysis for her was not about predicting the future in a vacuum. It was about reading the footprints of these fundamental currents on the charts. She developed the psychological patience to wait for the perfect alignment when a fundamental thesis was supported by a technical setup. This requires a mind comfortable with complexity and nuance, a mind that can hold multiple, seemingly contradictory pieces of information at once without forcing a trade. Her edge was a deep, intellectual curiosity about the why behind the move, coupled with a discipline to only act when the why was confirmed by the where on the chart. It's a mindset that rejects easy answers and thrives on rigorous, continuous research. And then we have Camilla Crown, whose edge was born from a desire for clarity and accessibility. In a world of increasingly complex and opaque trading systems, she carved out her edge by going back to the basics. Pure price action. Her psychology is one of simplification and trust. She learned to trust what the price was telling her, to read the story written in the candlesticks and the volume bars, without the distraction of countless lagging indicators. This requires a tremendous amount of self-trust and confidence. It's a mindset that says, I have the ability to interpret the raw data myself. I don't need a complicated algorithm to tell me what to see. Her edge is elegant in its simplicity, but profoundly difficult to master because its greatest barrier is the trader's own ego and desire for complexity. She had to develop the psychological strength to be different, to ignore the crowd constantly chasing the next shiny, over-engineered indicator, and to find profound success in the minimalist beauty of a clean chart. So, to return to our initial question, how do you find a signal that is truly your own? The answer, as demonstrated by these three distinct paths, is not through frantic searching outwardly for a holy grail. It is through a deep, introspective journey inwardly. It's about understanding your own psychological makeup, your patience, your risk tolerance, your intellectual curiosity, and then building a system that doesn't fight against your nature, but seamlessly aligns with it. Your edge isn't hidden in a strategy. It's hidden in you, waiting to be unlocked by self-awareness and honed by relentless practice. And so we arrive at the final, and perhaps most profound, evolution in the journey of a true master. We've witnessed the forging of unbreakable resilience. We've seen the discovery of a unique and personal edge. But critical question remains, what is the ultimate purpose of this hard-won success? Is it to accumulate wealth in isolation, To hoard knowledge as a personal trophy? Or is it something greater? For Linda, Kathy, and Camilla, the answer became clear almost as a natural law of their growth. The ultimate purpose of mastery is to give it away. This is the third act of their stories. The conscious, deliberate shift from being a successful individual trader to becoming a selfless educator and mentor. This transition is not merely a career pivot. It is the fullest expression of their trading psychology, the final piece that completes the puzzle. It represents a fundamental understanding that true, lasting success is not measured solely in personal net worth, but in legacy and impact. It is a recognition that the skills they spent decades honing, patience, discipline, risk management, emotional control, are not just tools for making money. They are frameworks for building a better, more empowered life, and that this knowledge carries an inherent responsibility to be shared. This evolution requires a massive psychological shift. It demands the abandonment of a scarcity mindset, the fear that sharing one's secrets will dilute one's own edge, and the embrace an abundance mindset. These women understood that the market is infinite in its opportunity. Helping others succeed does not diminish their own success. In fact, it amplifies it. Teaching became the ultimate test of their own understanding. Anyone can have a lucky streak, but to deconstruct your process, to articulate the unspoken instincts, to systemize the chaos of the markets into teachable principles, this forces a level of clarity and self-analysis that pure trading alone never could. It is the final mastery. For Linda Raschke, this meant authoring seminal books and mentoring a new generation of traders, passing on the timeless principles of market mechanics and system-based trading that she pioneered. She moved from playing the game to writing the rulebook. For Kathy Lien, it meant building an educational empire, BK Forex, where she dedicates herself to demystifying the complex world of currency trading, breaking down sophisticated fundamental concepts into actionable insights for retail traders around the globe. She transitioned from predicting the market to empowering others to learn how to see the signals for themselves. For Camilla Crown, this path manifested in building a vibrant community, using social media not for self-aggrandizement but for genuine connection and demystification. She focuses relentlessly on the psychological hurdles she herself had to overcome, offering not just strategy but solidarity and mindset coaching to those who, like her, are starting from outside the traditional finance world. Her work validates the struggles of the retail trader and provides a roadmap built on transparency and emotional honesty. The common thread in their teaching is an intense focus on the very foundations we so often ignore, the non-negotiable pillars of risk management and trading psychology. They know that a perfect entry strategy is worthless if a trader cannot manage the trade, cannot handle the drawdown, or cannot fight the impulse to revenge trade. Their teachings constantly redirect students from a seductive hunt for a magic bullet indicator to the less glamorous, but infinitely more important, work of building character and discipline. They are not just teaching people how to trade. They are teaching people how to think, how to manage emotion, how to endure hardship, and how to cultivate patience. They are, in the truest sense, teaching psychology first and trading second. This is their greatest gift and their most powerful lesson, that the journey to millions begins not with a perfect trade, but with a transformed mind. And by choosing to teach, they have multiplied their impact, creating a ripple effect of empowerment that extends far beyond their own portfolios, cementing their legacies not just as great traders, but as great leaders. So, what is the true lesson woven through the stories of Linda, Kathy, and Camilla? It's that trading is the ultimate meritocracy. It does not care about your gender, your background, or your pedigree. The market only responds to one thing: discipline over impulse, process over emotion, and psychology over luck. Their journeys from the hostile trading pits, the towering institutions, and the quiet home office all converge on the same immutable truth. Lasting success isn't found on a chart. It's forged in the mind. They built unshakable resilience, crafted a unique edge, and ultimately chose to lift others with the very knowledge that set them free. Their legacy is a challenge to each of us, a challenge to stop looking for external secrets and to start doing the internal work, to build our own discipline, to find our own edge, and perhaps one day to share our own story. Now your journey begins. If this message resonated with you, if you're ready to start prioritizing your trading psychology, here's how you take the first step right now. First, Show the algorithm that content with substance matters, like this video. Second, subscribe to Whispers of Psychology and ring the bell. We are committed to giving you the mental frameworks you need to win, not just the signals to follow. And most importantly, I want to hear from you. Your journey is unique. In the comments below, tell me one thing. What is the one psychological hurdle, be it fear, greed, or impatience, that you are most committed to overcoming this month? Let's build a community of disciplined traders, not just followers of trends. Your transformation starts with a single, honest admission. This has been Whispers of Psychology. Remember, trade the pattern, but master your mind.